Hello and welcome to our channel, Cheating Exposed. Today, we're revealing another story. I caught my wife cheating a second time, questions about exposing her and her affair partners. Married to my wife, Betty, for 6 years, I travel for work several times a year for training and support. Never had any reason to suspect her of cheating till last year. Then, I started seeing signs she was out more, buying new clothes, and being overly protective of her phone. When I asked her questions, she gave me vague and evasive answers. Also, our sex life wasn't as good as it used to be. I had a couple of conversations with her, and she assured me we were fine, that she was just focusing on improving herself. Still not satisfied, I cloned her iPhone to my iPad. That's when I read her texts and emails, including a bunch she had tried to delete. It was so much worse than I thought. She was talking with several guys and had slept with most of them. I took screenshots of everything, including pictures they had traded. She was meeting them at our house when I was out of town on business. I spent a whole day at work just rereading everything, trying to make sense of it. I had another trip planned that month, and all I could think about was what was going to happen while I was gone. The next day, I made a plan to confront her, but I wanted more evidence so she couldn't deny it and say I was delusional. So, I rigged up 2 IP cameras, one in the living room and another in our bedroom, hooked to my NAS box. When I got back from my trip, I had more than I bargained for. She had 2 different guys over while I was gone. What really floored me was seeing her enjoying acts with them that she never would do with me. I did a deep dive and found out all the personal info on the guy she was talking to. Both men in the videos were married, one was even a deacon at our church. I had another trip a week later and got more videos with a third guy. I was home for about 3 weeks straight, keeping a close watch on her, volunteering to go on errands with her, and such. Then, I told her I had to go to Phoenix on short notice but would only be gone 2 to 3 nights. Sure enough, she set up a date while I was away. So, I faked a trip to the airport and checked into a local hotel. My plan was to show up at the house 20 minutes before her date was supposed to arrive. I got to the house, let myself in, and found her getting ready. She was shocked, to say the least. I showed her the videos and told her I knew everything, we were done. She pleaded with me to stay and work things out, promising to change. She said she was ashamed. I told her she would have to cut all contact with the guys she had hooked up with. If anything like this ever happened again, I would be out the door. I said she needed to make a list of who she slept with and when. If she wasn't completely honest, I would know, and we were done. We also had to go to couples counseling to get to the root of why she cheated. In the meantime, I contacted her 3 affair partners in person and showed each of them a short video clip featuring them. I told them they needed to block all contact with my wife. Even so much as a text or call, and I would find out, then send those clips and text messages to their families, friends, and co-workers. We did the therapy, and things were better for almost a year. One thing I never told her was how I found out, or that I could still read her texts and emails. Trust but verify. She started a conversation with a guy, trading nudes and sexting, falling back into her old habits. I set up another fake trip and she set up another date at our house. This time, I waited down the street in a rental car and watched the guy walk into my house. I walked in on them in the bedroom with my cell phone recording. I started cursing and yelling at the top of my lungs. It scared both of them, and they jumped up. She was crying, and he was trying to get his pants back on. He ran out, and I went in to confront my wife. I told her we were done and she needed to leave. She pleaded with me, promising to make it up to me. I said she had 48 hours to confess to her parents and friends about how she threw away our marriage, before I started sending out her video highlight reels to everyone. I tracked her new AP down and sent their text messages and the cell phone footage to his wife. Betty, my soon-to-be ex-wife, has called me several times. She's in panic mode. Her new AP told her about his wife getting my email package, and now Betty is begging for mercy, pleading with me to stop. At this point, I just want to sit back and watch the world burn. I showed my evidence to my best friend and his wife. He said to move on, but his wife is siding with my darker side. She said to expose all her partners and go scorched earth. I'm torn right now. I realize I'm still in pain and just want to lash out, so I might not be making wise decisions. The one thing I do know is I don't want her to spin this breakup into being my fault. Tuesday morning, I got a call at work from Betty. She was in shock. She had just been served the divorce papers. Kudos to my lawyer for expediting that. She said she understood but wanted to talk things out. I had spent the last couple of days in a hotel, but I told her we could talk when I came home. She said it felt like her life was coming apart at the seams. She got a call from our pastor's wife saying it would be best if she resigned from the committee she was on at our church. 3 out of 4 of her APs have contacted her about having their lives blown up. 2 of them are confused because they followed my suggestion. They cut all contact with her in exchange for my silence. Her best friend called her crying because she and her husband were fighting after I talked to them the other night. I asked if she had told her family or any of our friends yet. She said just a few. I told her if she hadn't, I would be reaching out to them soon. She swears she still loves me and wants to stay with me. I told her I should have left when I found out she cheated the first time. Then, I told her I had copies and had read every email and text she sent or received over the last 3 years, along with her Snapchat. I knew everything, every conversation, every picture and video, even the one she thought she had deleted. I told her, there is no way I could trust you, and without trust, there is no future or love. The only thing left for us to do together is divorce and go our separate ways. Before I confronted my wife, Betty, I gathered a large amount of evidence. I gave her 48 hours to take responsibility for wrecking our marriage by telling our friends and family herself, before I did. When I reached out, some of our friends were clueless, while others had only heard a watered-down version of what happened. I had already sent most of the evidence to the wives and colleagues of her affair partners. So, I put together a group text to send to all our friends with a Dropbox link containing my detailed account of the past 2 years. Text messages, a lot of them, nude selfies she had sent, very explicit X-rated, the timeline of her affairs, which she wrote out when we reconciled the first time, saved Snapchats, all 4 videos of her and her APs. The last video and some selfies were included in the open text as well as in the Dropbox. I also gave my friends permission to do whatever they wanted with the evidence and warned the wives that Betty had a thing for married men. A similar text and email were sent to her family members. I had been staying in a hotel for a few nights after confronting her, but I came back to our house around the time the messages went out. It didn't take long before both of our phones started blowing up. Betty was screaming at me for airing our dirty laundry, and my only response was, what part of it wasn't true? She has since moved, either to her sisters or back home with her parents. Their fallout. One of her APs, a deacon at our church, has left the congregation. Our pastor's wife suggested Betty resign from the church committee. 3 out of 4 of her APs are facing divorce. The other one is stuck in purgatory. Her best friend and her husband are now separated because he found out she had been enabling the affairs and keeping it secret. Betty's sister sent me a negative response, but most people offered support and condolences. I have a shark of an attorney handling everything now, and I've blocked all contact with Betty. One of the last messages I sent to her and her sister was simple: actions have consequences. Well, folks, that's all. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.